So today's a little bit of a different video because 3 years of entrepreneurship completely changed my life. And essentially today, what I want to share with you is my story of how I ended up here in Dubai for 2.5 weeks, just because I feel like it, and my biggest lessons along the way that allowed me to get to this point. So there's not as such going to be any particular advice for coaches on digital marketing or digital marketing strategies in general. Just thought I'd mix it up a bit, do something a bit different since I'm in this beautiful spot. So let's get into it. Now, just quick intro, just in case anybody doesn't know me. My name is Alex and Josh for short. You can call me Alexi. And long story short, essentially, I take the guesswork out of sales and marketing for coaches so they can focus on coaching. And at the time of recording this, I've generated coaches multi-six figures in revenue in doing so. But yeah, let's get straight into this. Like I said, there's no really set agenda for this, nothing really planned. I'm just gonna talk and just share with you what's happened. So obviously, I started my entrepreneurship journey, well, let's say end of 2021. Right, I was in a 9-to-5 from September, started in end of August 2021. And within about 3 months, I remember turning around to my mum and my dad and just going, I can't do this. Like, this can't be my life now. Like, within 3 months, I hated my job. I hated being in a 9-to-5 world. I hated having to travel on the train every day to go to the office. I hated having a boss. And with it, like, straight away within 3 months, I knew it wasn't for me. Now, I've always been a hard worker and I've always wanted to do really well. So I did really well in school, right? I ended up with very good grades, got into the best college, and then ended up, because the college was so good, they pushed everyone to do something within university world. So either go to uni or you have to get a corporate job. And they didn't really show us or explain to us that there were other options out there. There were other things that we could do. And obviously the college wanted to look good, that their students were going to great places. So I sort of ended up getting pushed into this 9-to-5 world. And the area that I'm from, it's an area where most people do work a 9-to-5. So I just sort of naturally ended up in it, right? And like I said, within 3 months, I was just very unhappy and very unfulfilled. And yeah, so end of 2021, I sort of had that, got struck in the face with it, like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I was very young then and I felt like my life was over. And I know it sounds a bit extreme, but that's what it felt like. I was seeing all these guys in the office who were 50, 60, who had been in that office their whole life. And I was like, that is not the life I want. So end of 2021, I started going on a search. And I had no experience in business. I had no sales knowledge. I had no marketing knowledge. I didn't have anything. Right, I was an apprentice project manager. I was in a role where they were paying me to go to uni to learn project management, and I was doing the project management. They just gave me admin tasks to do. So I had no experience at all. So end of 2021, a majority of 2022, I was literally just researching and finding what I could do, what business I could do. And I tried a few different things and nothing really clicked. And eventually I came across the marketing agency, and the way I sort of came across it was I was thinking to myself, right, if I want to go into business, I want to go into something which is always going to be needed. I don't want to start learning a skill which is going to be rendered useless a few years down the line. And the basis of a marketing agency is marketing and sales, right? And every business, no matter how much things change in the world, to some degree, people are going to need to know sales and marketing to sell. It's as simple as that, really. So I got into it, and yeah, so for sort of 2.5 years, I balanced the 9-to-5, university, which was obviously the job was paying me for, and building the agency. So like 9-to-5 would be the job, 5 to 9, 5 to 10 would be building the agency. The weekends would be building the agency. And yeah, I just got stuck in, really, and got my head down. And it was a difficult road, right? It wasn't easy. It was a headache. It was a lot of stress. It was a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, just constantly. And yeah, I can comfortably say it now, as you can see here, my life has completely changed, and I'm extremely grateful for the past version of me, for making the sacrifices, for making those decisions, for going through that to get through to the other end. So yeah, I'm at a point now where I left my 9-to-5 last year. So it's coming up to a year now of me being solely on the agency. I got to a point last year where the agency was earning more than the 9-to-5, and I was like, it makes sense to leave now. It's sort of, I either leave now and go full time with the agency to get it to the next level, or I stick with the job. And that was a no-brainer. So yeah, here we are. And yeah, it's been an amazing road. So that's just a short little backstory on me, but I wanted to share with you some of my biggest lessons really, because I remember when I started, like I said, I had no knowledge, I had no experience, I had no understanding. And so when you see these people online that are making money and are doing well for themselves, it almost doesn't feel real. It feels quite alien, and it feels like this can't be true, right? These guys are just trying to sell me something. So I went through that little phase at the start where there was a lot of uncertainty, there was a lot of doubt. So the first thing that I want to share, which I think will help a lot of people, is if somebody else has done what you want to do, you can do it as well. And it's literally as simple as that. And there's a quote that says, like, if the laws of human nature allow it, it's possible. So it's pretty much saying, like, if it's humanly possible, if somebody else has done it, you can do it as well, right? And a lot of the time, that's the first step that stops people really, is they go, I could never do that. I don't have the skill set. I don't know how to do that. But a lot of people look at where they want to be based on where they are now. And obviously you're looking at someone who's 10 years ahead of you with 10 more years of experience and skills. And you're looking at, I can't do that, but you can't do it from your current place. So the first thing I want to share with anyone watching this, no matter where you are in your entrepreneurship journey, is you can go wherever you want. You can take it as far as you want to. You just have to believe it. And that is honestly the most important part. And I remember my first ever mentor told me, he was like, a lot of this stuff, right? Once you learn the fundamentals and the basic skill set, he was telling me 80% of this stuff is your mindset. And I was like, really? I don't know. I didn't really believe it. But as I got deeper into this journey, I actually started to realize, yeah, he is right. A lot of this stuff just is mindset and how you the story that you're running in your head essentially. And yeah, so the first massive lesson from me to you, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have undeniable doubt that it's going to work, because there's going to be weeks, months. Well, for me, there was a period of like a year where I really felt stuck. I really had no idea what to do. I had no idea how to progress. And I just still had that undeniable doubt in my mind that I could make it work. And without that doubt and without that faith in it and without that belief in myself, I wouldn't have got to where I want to get to. So that's the first piece of any puzzle of entrepreneurship, no matter where you are, how advanced you are, is that you have to believe it. It's as simple as that. And I was out last night in Dubai, and I was connecting with some guys, my old mentor, a new mentor that I had earlier this year. And I was in this really cool room of people, and very, very successful people. And a lot of them, well, I know the guy I was working with earlier this year, he does about £500,000 a month, every single month. And that's revenue. And I think he said he has about 85% profit margin. So you can figure that out. It's pretty nuts. But sitting around the table with sort of guys like that, you just start to realize even more, like coming back to this belief point, that first of all, they're just human beings. Like, I think people alienate these really massive online entrepreneurs because they can't see themselves out. But when you sit down with them, they are very normal people. They are just like everybody else, which I think is a common misconception for earlier on entrepreneurs. And not only that, but there's nothing really, in the most respectful way possible, there's nothing like exceptionally special about them, which everybody else can't replicate, if that makes sense. So the key is they're just humans. Like I said, they've just been doing it for longer. They understand it more, and they've got more experience. It's as simple as that. So that's the first sort of concept I want to share with you, is like, if you're in that place where you feel really stuck, you feel really uncertain, you've seen all these people, you can't imagine yourself getting there, just have faith, believe in yourself. The only way this doesn't work for you is if you stop. As simple as that. If you stop doing what you're doing, it will stop working. As simple as that. So if you keep going, if you keep pushing, if you keep driving, you can make it work, 100% guaranteed. And yeah, just have faith in yourself, and just understand that the people that you want to be like are exactly like you. They're exactly like me. They're exactly like everyone on the street. They've just been doing one thing for much longer time, getting much more experience and focusing on the right things, essentially. So that's the first thing that I'd say. Now, the second thing that I'd say, a good lesson, is that I think a lot of people, you've got to, no matter what business you're doing, right? Maybe some people here are watching that aren't coaches, but no matter what you're doing, sales and marketing always has to be as a forefront activity, right? And I went through a phase last year where I stopped trying to sell my services to build out my delivery and what I was offering to clients even further. And what that meant for me is that I didn't have much cash flow. I had good months before that, so I sort of just cut a lot of expenses, focus on that. But realistically, you always want to be pushing and driving for sales. And I think I see a lot of people when I speak to like coaches, for example, when we're on like discovery calls, where they've completely stopped selling themselves, or they've completely stopped marketing themselves, and they're wondering why the lead flow's dried up, or they're just focusing on just their delivery. And one thing I would do if I could go back, so for example, I have like with my clients, I do one-to-one calls, but I also have like a content library of things they can access in their spare time if they want to learn more and take things further themselves, essentially. But I paused everything apart from delivering results to build that content library as well. And what I would have done differently now is actually built the content library alongside selling myself, maybe just at a lower scale, because you need there's no point building something if there's no customers going through it, because you're not going to learn if it's good, you're not going to get any feedback, and you're going to, again, the cash flow is going to be a massive thing. So the next thing I would say is really just never put aside the sales and the marketing thing. And I think for earlier on entrepreneurs, you trying to, especially just reflect on my journey, I would try and do one thing at a time. Like I would never be able to do the sales and the marketing and the delivery and the content, for example, whatever it may be. So I'd say just never put that aside, because that's the heart of your business, right? It doesn't matter how good of a coach you are, whatever business you are, whoever's watching this, if you don't have that foundation or that engine running to some extent, it doesn't matter how good you are. Word of mouth and referrals can only take you so far unless you're selling an extremely, extremely high ticket product. So that's what I'd say on that, really. Now, another thing that's been really sort of useful for me to understand as well, and I think will be helpful for most people, is that everything that you see out there, I'd say about 95% of it works. So all of these people trying to sell you something online, I'd say don't get me wrong, there's the odd person who doesn't know what they're doing and is inauthentic and is doing something that they shouldn't be, essentially. But I think what's important to understand is that all of these different ways, right? Cold outreach, organic content, paid ads, whatever mechanism of getting clients that people are telling you to do, they all do work. And this is like, I guess, sort of the biggest misconception and secret, so to speak, of this whole online space, is that genuinely everything works. The key here, there's two key things as to getting clients online, as to what sort of really affects people the most, is that it's just about making it work for you, and it's just about picking something that's going to work best for your business model as well. So like, for example, when I'm helping coaches, I'm telling them, look, you shouldn't really be using a funnel, you shouldn't really be relying on organic content, and you shouldn't be doing cold outreach, because it doesn't align with the coaching business model, if that makes sense. Because coaches aren't salesmen, they aren't marketers. The coaching business model is simple. So what you're doing with your client acquisition, you want it to align with that. Organic content takes a lot of time, is complex to learn and to get up and running, and it isn't predictable, so that's not the most efficient. Cold outreach, again, you have to become a very good salesman / marketer to understand cold outreach, to get the technicality set up, to get all of that stuff going, to make it work. Again, complex, time consuming, things like that. Funnels are complex, they require heavy follow-up. Again, that makes coaches wear the hat of a salesman and a marketer. So it's about understanding, based on your business model, what is the best for you when it comes to getting clients. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants more clients. That's the whole premise of this online business, is how do you get clients? How do you get clients? How do you get clients? So that's a big lesson that's really helped me, is that pretty much everything works. It's just about finding something that aligns with you the most and works with what you want to achieve the most. And when people tell me something didn't work, I never think the thing didn't work. I think the person didn't use it correctly, or it wasn't right for them, or they just couldn't make it work for them. Like I said, most stuff works. 95% of stuff works. And you'll see the case studies, you'll see the results, you'll see the testimonials people have of things that they've got. If it hasn't worked for you, there is a reason for that. Maybe you haven't implemented it properly. Maybe you've come in it with the wrong mindset and the wrong perception of it. Maybe, again, it doesn't align with you and what you're doing, so it's not attracting the right people, things like that. So really keep that in mind as you're going through your journey of acquisition as well. And I guess the next thing really to talk about is like, there really is no cap on what you can achieve and what you can do. And again, I want to talk more about the mindset stuff. Like I said, like my old mentor told me, 80% mindset, 20% strategy, because it really is that. Like, to give you a story again of my situation, like I remember the first time I came to Dubai, it would have been end of 2023. And I remember getting on the plane. I would have been just a year and a bit into my agency journey. I think at that point in my journey, I'd lost pretty much all my clients and I had no clients at that point in time. And it was a point in time where I was just looking to start in the coaching niche. So I used to work with estate agents, but it didn't align with the types of clients I wanted or how I wanted to deliver things. So I found coaches is a better niche for me and where my skill set lied. And I remember boarding the plane to Dubai, and there was these two young guys, like my age, and very well dressed, very nice watches on, and they were sat in business, the two of them, and you could see they had their laptops out, they were working. You could see it was the online business world. And I remember sitting there looking at them and thinking, wow, that is really, really cool. That is what I want to be like one day. And I came with my family at that point when I went, actually, and I remember my mum saying to me, like, you can make that, and my dad as well, it was like, you can make that happen. You've just got to keep working, keep your head down, and you'll make it work. And fast forward to today, right? That scenario always stuck in my head. And for the longest time, like I said, my dream was to leave the 9 to 5, to be able to work from where I want, when I wanted, and just have a life that I wanted on my terms. But fast forward to today, like you see here, sat here in the marina of Dubai. You can see the Dubai eyes there. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. But getting on that plane 2 days ago when I flew out here, and having my laptop and doing a bit of work before, and having a nice wash and things like that, it sort of hit me like, wow, I have done what I wanted to achieve. And again, the reason I'm sharing this is because I know I've sort of already said it, but I just really want to like stick at this point because it's so important, is that you really just have to believe in yourself to a delusional level almost, right? If I told me 4 years ago, in 4 years' time, you're going to be working on your own terms, you're going to be running your own marketing agency, you're going to be making more money than your 9 to 5 would ever pay you, you're going to be working from Dubai for 2.5 weeks just because you feel like it, I would go, that is absolutely crazy, that is stupid, what are you talking about, right? But now that I've sort of seen that, when I started in it and I saw what was possible, I just always kept that faith and that belief in me that I can make this work, I can do this. And again, no matter how uncertain I was, how stressed I was, how anxious I was, deep down, I still believed I could do it. And look, here we are. And again, look, I've still got a long way to go, right? I've got very big goals for myself, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but it's important to be grateful for how far you've come and where you are now. And yeah, I'm extremely grateful for the journey and the progress and the progression. It's just insane. So just to touch on that point again, like, no matter how delusional you feel it is, no matter how big you feel it is, you can make it work. And I think another really key point, and I think I'll leave the video at this point after that, is that the journey's not going to be easy. It's going to be really, really, really difficult, like really difficult. You're going to wake up stressed. You're going to wake up anxious. You're going to have days where your head's just hurting non-stop trying to figure stuff out. Like even now, right, even though I'm more established, and I keep getting more established as the time goes on, I sometimes wake up just full of anxiety, just full of fear and anxiety, and just feeling uncertain about the situation, the whole journey, right? Even now to this point. So, and I think this is a really important concept to understand, is that it's never truly going to be smooth sailing. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I do a lot of discovery calls every week. I speak with loads of new coaches. Some coaches, maybe it's not a discovery call on Zoom, maybe it's a phone call when they've opted into my ads and things like that, and I call them. But the biggest thing that I see driving a lot of people is fear. And they let the fear drive them and convince them that they have to feel certain to act, that they have to have certainty in what they're doing to be able to progress. And I think that is the biggest misconception and the biggest place where people are falling behind is they're letting fear and uncertainty run the show. Now, there's a stat that about 93% of Fortune 500 companies are built during a recession or a depression. In the most uncertain times, the biggest companies are built. And that just shows us that in the most uncertain times, we have to value that time because that's where we're going to see the most growth. And to be honest with you, I've never seen the most growth when I felt comfortable, when I felt certain in what I'm doing. There's always been some stress, there's always been some anxiety, there's always been some fear. Like, to give you an example, recently I doubled my ad spend again. So start of the year, I was doing about £20 a day on ads. Month later, I went to £50 a day. I was running that for about 2.5 months. And yeah, the other day I doubled it again to £100 a day. And I'll be honest, I was feeling horrible. I was scared, I was nervous, I was uncertain. I was like, crap, this is a decent amount of money. It's starting to get proper money now on ads. And I had two options at that choice, right? I either let fear run the show and I let it dictate how I act and what I do, and I let it decide the progression of the business, or what I did instead with the route that I chose to take is just sort of sit with it, understand that the fear and uncertainty is part of it, understand that I haven't got to this point in this journey with it being smooth sailing. It's going to feel uncomfortable, and just having to take the leap. Like, sometimes you just have to take that jump. And again, like I say, it's going to be scary, it's going to be uncomfortable, it's not going to feel right. But like I say, sometimes you've just got to take that leap. So I don't want anyone to have that misconception running their show for them, have that misconception telling them that when you feel the fear, or you feel the anxiety, or you feel the uncertainty, that it's time to stop and things are going bad. That's usually the times when it's time to jump, right? And again, I'm saying that because I see on some of my discovery calls that I have with coaches, they'll tell me that they need something straight away. They tell me that it's urgent. They'll tell me that they don't know that they're struggling for money. They need to learn how to do something. Has to be now. And when it gets to the end of the call, you can then see the switch of the fear sets in of the reality of the situation, that they have to invest, that they have to make a jump, they have to make a leap. And they let the feelings run the show, essentially. And that fear just dictates their situation and what they do next. And so essentially probably the most important lesson really is, aside from the strategies, which you can go on my page and watch them all and how I do things and learn digital marketing, the sales strategies. And aside from the mindset of even just believing in yourself, I think the other most important concept, and really what's got me here as well, is that learn to accept the fear and the uncertainty. Learn to understand that you're never going to feel 100% certain. You're never going to feel 100% fearless. You're never not going to have anxiety. You're never not going to have stress at some point. It's part of the journey. It's natural. What you've decided to do isn't easy. And so because of that, the emotions that you get aren't going to be easy either. But if you can manage them, if you can accept them, if you can regulate them, if you can understand why you're having them and understand that they're not actually negative, they're just a natural progression and part of the journey, again, I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised into how far you can go with this. And for me, every time that I feel stressed, I feel anxious, I feel nervous, scared, whatever, I always tell myself that on the other side of this is where you want to be. And I haven't got to where I am today, here, sitting here, filming this video for you, by letting fear and uncertainty dictate me. I've gone through it, I've pushed through it, I've understood that it's there, I've let it be there, and I've done what I needed to do, and here we are, right? So it's really, really important. And another thing that I tell myself is that the person that I'm competing with isn't going to be willing, or a lot of people aren't going to be willing to go through the stress and the anxiety that I'm willing to go through. And because of that, I will always win. Don't forget, this stuff is a competition. You're competing with yourself and you're competing with your competitors. And like I said at the start, you decide how far you want to take this. You decide how well you want to do. And if you can sit with that fear and that anxiety and you can accept it, and if you can have utter pure belief and faith in what you're doing, that's genuinely my biggest lesson and the biggest takeaway I want you to have when you're looking to progress and take yourself to the next level, is that fear and uncertainty and believing in yourself, if you have that alone and you can sit with the fear and the uncertainty and you can believe in yourself like there's no tomorrow, you will get to where you want to get to. It's as simple as that. So yeah, hope that wasn't too waffly. Like I said, didn't script anything there, just went a little bit off the cuff and just said what came to my head. But yeah, this is day 2 of me in Dubai. What's the date today? 17th of April, the day of me filming this. I've got 13 more days here, so I've got plenty of time to enjoy the weather and do some work and be productive. But yeah, I really do hope you found this useful. I hope this gave you some sort of learning, something to think about and something to take away with you on your journey. But a couple of options for you now. If you found this video useful, subscribe. I'll be posting more content like this, a mixture of strategies and casual videos like this. And look, if you're in a place where you're a coach specifically, you're looking for more clients, you want them in a simple way without having to pull your hair out over sales and marketing, then there's a link in the first link, and the pinned comment, there's a link as well. If you press on that, you can book in a chat with me and we can explore how I could possibly help you. If you're not quite ready to chat, I've also got an Instagram, which I'll link in the description as well. Use the same name that I use on this YouTube channel. And yeah, feel free to connect with me on there. I'm always sharing more content like this in just a shorter format. So yeah, I hope you found that useful. Keep pushing on your journey. I'm just getting started, but I'm really starting to feel and reap the rewards of what I've been doing. So keep your head down, keep pushing, and you will get to where you want to get to.